Hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, Whimsy, here to deliver another remote view. Thank you so much for your support and love of this channel. It is very appreciated. Well, these are trying times, and I am just the person to help support you through these trying times. But before we get started, it would be great if you could like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps build the channel, and I really appreciate it. Today I have been meditating, playing my violin, and I have been watching a lot of YouTube channels, and I have been looking at the polls. I've also been looking at the statistics out of NBC on who is voting, who is not voting. Looks like we have a really great wall we're getting in Pennsylvania. That's really good news. Something like 65% of early voting is coming from the Democrats. But we're also getting some disappointments as well. If you're looking at, we don't have the margins I'd like to see in Georgia, for example. The thing we have to ask ourselves as we sit in meditation is, do we deserve democracy? Do we Americans deserve the democracy that the founding mothers and fathers created? You look at the letters between Abigail Adams and John Adams, how they constructed the ideas of the kind of country that they wanted to develop. The writings of some of the people that helped create the United States. And you can't help but wonder what has happened. What has happened to this country? How is it that January 6th could have happened? That the Capitol could have literally been breached, people died, and yet instead of the instigator being in prison, he's now on the verge of potentially winning the White House. Have we already lost our democracy? That's really the question we have to ask ourselves. Have we lost our democracy? And have we lost the Democratic Party? If Liz Cheney is stumping for the Democratic Party, what does that say about the health of the Democratic Party or the health of our republic? If the American people are willing to vote for an insurrectionist, if they are willing to throw everything that the founders of this country worked so hard for because somebody's going to give them a check for $1 million or pay them $45 or whatever to say that they support the First and Second Amendments, with some veiled attempt to get them to vote for Trump. If none of that matters to the American voter, then do we deserve this republic? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Did we become so greedy and so hungry for money, seduced by money and corporations, that we were willing to sell our souls in order to have the money? We fell in love with our idols out of Hollywood, and we fell in love with the idea of being rich, and that became maybe more important to us than the republic. So Trump is the ugly American who waves his dollar bills and his Rolex watch and is loud and gross and uneducated and everything that is stereotypically the ugly American. And we embrace it. We vote for it. We lift it up. We think it's a great thing. Then America has made its choice. That is who we are. And if that is who we are, then we don't deserve this republic. We're simply voting for what we are and what we've become. Nobody can see the future. There are multiple timelines. There are multiple possibilities. I always felt that Trump would quit, and that's pretty much what he's done. He's refused to do interviews. He refused to do 60 Minutes. He won't do another debate. And yet, whether he quits or not seems to have no impact whatsoever on who people are voting for. And that's because Donald Trump is not really the person that's running for president. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk are running for president. Elon Musk wants to be the president, but he can't be the president because he was born in South Africa. And so he puts a puppet in, and he is a more dangerous version of Trump. And that's why getting rid of Trump is not the solution, because he's a symptom, he's not the cause. The cause is that there are too many people in positions of power with too much money that don't want to pay their taxes, that are manipulating our elections, and too many Americans are buying into it. That's the problem. So I thought we would do the empath's prayer, and let's have a conversation about what the cards say. How are we doing? What do we need to do to save what is left of our democracy? Do we deserve to have a democracy? Or will we fall into a world similar to Victorian England, where you have the haves and the have-nots? 10% owning 90% of the world's resources because we voted for it. Are we going to vote for fascism? Have you voted in this democracy? Are you okay with the person who instigated January 6th walking into the White House with his henchmen who paid for it? Does that sit well for you? Well, it sits well for a lot of Americans. That's why they're voting for him. Because he's good for their money. He's good for their pocketbook, they think. Is he going to save healthcare? Probably not. Probably not. Is he going to save Social Security? No. That's probably gone too. Is he going to save our democracy? Of course not. We'll probably never have to vote ever again, according to him. And a lot of Americans are okay with that. Let's do the empath's prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic Records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. All right, so the first thing I wanted to do is I just wanted to check on what is going to be happening the next couple of weeks in the United States. I'm using the Universal Rider-Waite deck. And let's see what the future holds. The funny thing is that Democrats appear to be winning in Texas, according to the NBC exit poll research. I think that's pretty funny. We're doing better in Texas than we are in Arizona. If you are a Democrat, I'm a Democrat, which is really the only American party left. There are multiple timelines because human beings have free choice. We live in a multiverse. All these timelines can be existing simultaneously. This is why we can't say we see the future, but what we can do is we can see warning signs to save our democracy, to give us the future that we want, to stack the deck in our favor. Our democracy is strong. There are people that care about this democracy. We have to ask ourselves what happened at the Justice Department that they couldn't get control of this guy. He should have been in. First off, who helped him in the insurrection? How close were they to the White House? How close were they in the Pentagon, the CIA? What happened to our intelligence agencies? What happened to those hearings that should have taken place where we, the American people, demanded from those agencies solid answers about what happened in our country that day? The karma right now is that we are strong as a union. Remember, we got to get off this red state, blue state crap. We have to stop having animosity towards our own country. We are strong and the world is strong. 2 major arcana cards. We are strong. You have to understand also who Elon Musk is. We've done profiles of him. He's a control freak. He needs ultimate control. First thing he said on his wedding day, I'm the alpha. I have to be in control. This is a guy who's obsessed with control. He needs total control. He doesn't want anybody in the White House that is going to control him, whether it's the SEC or any other organization. He's going to remove all control because he wants complete and total control. And so if he has access to the White House, if he pays to get into the White House, to be the de facto president of the United States, he's going to tear down everything that controls him. And at that point, he's a monster without guardrails. He will be the president. He and Peter Thiel will be the president. And these people are just puppets. He pays. He'll pay off Trump's credit card debts and all of his other debts, and then send him on his merry way to a happy little insane asylum somewhere, and then he'll put in J.D. Vance, who is his puppet and Peter Thiel's puppet, because ultimately it's the billionaires that run this country. And if Americans are willing to join a lottery in Pennsylvania where they think they're going to win $1 million to sell their soul and sell their democracy, well, then we've pretty much told the world who we are and what our values are. But you can see that the world comes as strong. We're on the verge of World War III. Now, you have somebody like Elon Musk who thinks that he's going to have no more war. He's got it all figured out. This guy who all he needs to create peace on earth is to have all control taken away. We're preventing this megalomaniac from taking complete control of everything. Him and his police robots that he's producing. iRobot. He calls them We Robot. He's going to have his own police force of robots. He's going to be controlling the world. He wants total control. And if he has control over artificial intelligence, the thing he fears is the thing he knows he's capable of. Elon Musk is going to create AI control. He's going to have his own AI police force. And at that point, it's all over. It's all over. We have to come back to center and recognize the things that Elon Musk is afraid of is the thing that he himself is trying to do. And he's terrified of artificial intelligence because he himself knows what he's producing. He's producing a police state run by Elon Musk with his police, his artificial intelligence police. That's his goal. That's what he's trying to do. And so we are all that stands between him and his version of global domination. We're going to have world peace because it's just going to be him and his billionaires controlling us. The karma is that we are strong and the world is strong, but we only get there by recognizing what's going. This person is such a megalomaniac. He thinks that this is the best thing for the planet. Of course there will be no more war because he'll own it all. Where we are at right now, the sun is coming out. 3 major arcana cards. So we have a base card, karma, which is we are strong, the world, and the sun is coming out, which indicates exposure. But we have to call the Justice Department out. We have to call the feds out, the CIA. How did you get to be compromised? How did our judicial system get to be compromised? How did money become so important to us? More important than our own souls. We didn't go and become the simple farmer like Farmer John Adams, right? We're too good for that, right? We wanted to be billionaires. We wanted to be like Dallas, right? We dreamed we were on Dynasty, right? And this grotesque love of fame and Hollywood, and now the repulsive, vulgar, ugly. You have this beautiful tapestry, this beautiful, gaudy, gorgeous tapestry that is Hollywood, and now we're ripping up the tapestry, and the worms, and the decay, and the feces, and everything else, and the golden juice, it's all coming out, and the stench of Hollywood is now coming out. And that's the great opportunity we find ourselves in right now, which is that we are seeing our own ugly. We are seeing our idols. This is the warning not to worship idols. The crossing of the sun coming up, we have to be willing to let go of our fantasies about people. Please stop talking to me about Johnny Depp. I have so much data on him. If you really want to learn about who he is, if you really want to learn about who Adam Waldman is, I can help you with that. Or Leonardo DiCaprio, or Elon Musk, and his need for control. He never wants to be out of control again because of what happened to him in his childhood. So we have to give up the fantasies. We have to give up the idols. We have to give up the worship of our idols. We're moving in the wrong direction. We have to be willing to let everything go and see things as they are. What is above us? Fighting and conflict. It could be that many of us feel like we don't even know what to cling to anymore. Well, what's real? What's real? I feel like I'm going crazy. Well, I thought he was a nice guy and he turned out to be a jerk. Well, I thought she was a nice girl and she turned out to be horrible. I thought Elon Musk was going to take my rebuild of Gaza and create, right? We're all going through this. Like, who do I trust? Oh my God, I've been conned again, right? It's a very confusing time, isn't it? And so what we're sitting in is complete confusion. Look at these cards. We've got the sun, total exposure. We're completely walking away from everything we held on to. We are fighting in our 4th house, which is our higher self. And what we're sitting in is the moon, which is lunacy. We just honestly don't know what the hell is going on. Mind control, people with more money than they know what to do with. Once you have power, you don't want to give it up. It's an addiction. You want more power. What we're coming out of, smoother waters. And what we're headed into is the fool takes a leap of faith. We are entering into the unknown. Where we are right now, Page of Pentacles, we are receiving a gift. So now is a time when how we have to look at this is get organized, vote, search your conscience. What do we have to do to strengthen this republic? What do we have to do to begin to take care of one another? What do we have to do to unite as a country? The opposition at this time, a judgment is falling on the opposition. Our country is weak. Our government did not protect us. How did our country become so weak? Why didn't they protect us? Did we put our heads in the sand and think that it was going to be somebody else's job to protect our democracy, that we could just go out and do what we wanted and it was their job? DC was going to do their thing, right? They were going to go and do their thing, and we could go do our thing. You know, you got it covered. You got it covered. We acquiesced. We got lazy. We didn't want to do the work. The hopes and fear at this time, our own power. We have to take the power back of our country. We have to take the power back, and we have to hold those people in leadership accountable for what has happened. It should never have gotten to this point. January 6th never should have happened. And if there had been people at the wheel in the Justice Department, Bill Barr, everybody that was responsible for him openly planning the insurrection, where was Secret Service? What happened with the Capitol Police? Why did this happen? How did our country get so weak? The final outcome for our country, the King of Wands emerges. The War King emerges. This is a king, if you don't give me what I want war. The King of Wands wants war. There's a war going on. The clarification over the gift, service to others. They've gotten too big for their britches, and we must aggressively get organized and do everything in our power to take control over those people that have the power over us. 0.5% of taxes for billionaires is ridiculous. Taxing them 0.5%, they're fighting over 0.5%. The opposition, war is coming. They want war. If you don't give us what we want, we're going to create war. The hopes and fears at this time, King of Cups. It goes back to what I had said about an aging chancellor in World War II. That Biden was like an aging chancellor in Germany when it fell to Nazism. That the people became weak, they looked for somebody to blame, and so they became vulnerable to fascism. And then the final outcome for this country, the Tower. So we have the King of Wands coming and the Tower, a possibility of civil unrest and fighting. All right, so they're trying to take the election and they're stealing it in plain sight. They're paying and bribing people in plain sight. They're bullface lying and taking control of the media any way they can. I'm looking at Kamala Harris now to see how she's doing. A lot of women are voting for Trump. In fact, the majority of people defending Trump on my channel are women. So assuming that women are going to vote pro-choice, we shouldn't do that because there are plenty of women that are not pro-choice. We can't assume that just because it's a female majority. A female majority, I believe, voted in Trump. Isn't that right? Wasn't it the majority of voters in 2016 were women? So this assumption that all women are going to vote one way is another thing that we can't assume. Kamala Harris's cards. I'll just do 4 cards. Grieving what has been lost. Grieving what we have lost. Her opposition is fighting the land. The hope and the fear for her at this time, the truth. Archangel Michael. She's only one person. She can't do it alone. She is strong. She is a very strong woman. She's much stronger than Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry to say, but she is. She gets her wish over something she grieves. Her opposition, who's fighting the land, the world, fighting the world. Archangel Michael is with her. The Knight of Cups. She's trying to reach across the aisle, and the final outcome for her, Smooth waters lay ahead for the next several years. The cards are leaning towards Harris winning, but it should not be this thin. I'm going to just check Trump. Well, it's really Elon Musk who's running for president. He's just a guy whose credit cards are being paid off. He's just the symbol. They're going to send him out to pasture pretty soon. But let's go ahead and see Trump's cards. Trump. Addiction, codependency. This is drug addiction, sex addiction, and codependency. He presents as the devil. His opposition, a strong woman, often an air sign, who seeks the truth and carries the sword of justice. His hope and his fear, the legal system, the police, and the final outcome for Trump, the Empress, wealth and abundance, over the addict. His time is coming to an end. Over Kamala Harris, a judgment. The hope and the fear he has of the police, that he will be abandoned, that he will lose support, and that he will not be protected from the police. Over the issue of his wealth, Two of Swords. He will not have access to his wealth. He cannot get access to the thing that makes him magical or brings him the wealth, his abundance. Two of Swords. He's increasingly confused. Seven of Cups, also multiple cups, again, a sign of addiction. The further challenge of Harris, walking away from everything she built. The fear of Trump, power over him, that who he is indebted to. And the final outcome, Three of Wands. He could be leaving the country. He sees himself somewhere else. I can't imagine, even if Trump got elected, that he would stay in office. I think that it will go to J.D. Vance, even if he were to win, because his cards indicate that his mental and physical health is too deteriorated. Also, those cards indicate addiction. Seven of Cups is to be in the clouds. It's to be in your cups. The Devil is a card that is associated with codependency and addiction. It could go either way, but to be honest with you, I think that the best thing we can do is to get out and vote, but it still stands with Harris as the winner, I would say. I'll do one card from the ancestors. What do our ancestors want us to know? Choose your path. How do you see this country in the next 10, 20, 30 years? We have to seek guidance. What kind of country do you want us to be producing? And then work towards that. And it has to be beyond just party. What are we collectively working to create? Be the oracle. All right, thank you, everyone. Be kind to all so that others can be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I would love to give you a reading. You can find all that information below this video. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.